2010, a new year, a new decade, and a new turning of events. As Lil Marlo spray painted R.I.P. Dank and Big P on the wall, he would also tag Free Rum Z. 13-year-old Marlo would begin reminiscing about the last 5 years. When Lil Marlo first started roaming with the older guys at the age 8, he would already witness street brawls and riots. By the age of 9, a 17-year-old would give Lil Marlo some drugs, but he would give it all away to his brother because he didn't want his father to find out. By age 10, Lil Marlo would be making between $80 and $100 a day selling palmetto roses in the downtown Charleston area. On the weekend and on summer breaks, Lil Marlo would get up 6 in the morning and make about 50 roses. Then he would catch the bus to downtown Charleston. Then by 2 o'clock, he would catch the Carter bus back to North Charleston, which was only a 10-minute ride. Even though Lil Marlo was only 10 years old, he could buy his own clothes and shoes, just like the 15, 16, and 17-year-olds he ran with. He always stayed on the scene because he could pay his own way into the skating ring, movies, or teen clubs. Not only that, Lil Marlo big brothers were very dangerous members from their generations. By age 11, Lil Marlo would witness more than 50 broad day shootings, knockouts, and street brawls. Sometimes he could hear bullets whizzing by his ears. On several occasions, he would witness high-speed chases and car crashes. One day, a drive-by would take place on the corner of the street Lil Marlo lived on. Then another day, the feds would raid Lil Marlo's mom's house. But the icing on the cake is when AK-47 gunshots interrupted the day and left a local drug dealer riddled with bullets. After that, Lil Marlo's mom would move him to Atlanta. Lil Marlo would stay in Atlanta for about a year, and while he was there, he met 2 friends. One name was Quan, and he was from New Orleans, and one name was Khalil, and he was from D.C. He met Quan one day because they both were walking past each other, and they spoke to each other, and they had sound alike because of the New Orleans accent and the Charleston accent. Lil Quan would begin to tell Marlo how gangster New Orleans was, and Lil Marlo would begin to tell Quan how gangster Charleston was. Lil Marlo and Khalil clicked because Khalil name sound like Lil Marlo's real name, Khalid. Quan, Lil Marlo, and Khalil would begin to make money by taking out people's trash, selling water, and cleaning cars. Then one day, Khalil would steal about half a pound from his older brother and give it to the guys on the block. And just like that, we became a part of the CRG, Campbellton Road Gangsters.
Where you at? Rich nigga shit, man.
Campbellton Road Gangsters was a Boston blood set that went to war with other Crips and blood sets throughout Atlanta. CRG would have Lil Marlo, Quan, and Khalil move packages throughout the projects because some of the guys' faces were so hot they couldn't come outside. This era of the Campbellton Road Gangsters would make the government build gates when the neighborhood got gentrified due to the violence and people running through the shortcuts to get away from the law. One day, 15-year-old Lil Quan would visit New Orleans and never come back to Atlanta. He was gunned down at his auntie's party. A few months later, Khalil got ran over by a car going to the bus station. One day, Lil Marlo would be walking to the local park when he would get caught lacking by some ops from another neighborhood. Then he would get jumped and suffer a concussion. Chapter 2, Off the Porch. As Lil Marlo finished spray painting the wall, he would get interrupted by his childhood friend Lil Nate. "Boy, you ain't changed a bit," Lil Nate said. "Damn, bruh, I ain't saw you since we been kids and we had that fight on Bread Lane," Lil Marlo said, giving out a handshake.
Call me a creeper shit, real in the dark.
fuck all that talk. Let's put some spark. Nigga, I'm itching to dim me up. Be out of bound. I'm wetting up top. I'm loving that life. Yeah, I'm a younger but cooler than life. I know some niggas that won't do you right. They do it of love. Forget about the price. Them bullets they flying and river through flares. Some shit my trigger to it's nothing left.
As Lil Nate and Marlo walked to the store, they would be having a really deep talk about the future. Damn, bruh, since Dank and Big P died and Rum Z got locked up, shit been dry out here. Lil Marlo complained. Shit, I already knew. But on some real shit, bruh, it's our turn. And besides, bruh, you been hustling and running with the older guys since we been jits. Real shit, my brother done wanted me to rap this song called Young Goonz, but I was too shy at the moment. We can just start calling ourselves Young Goonz then. Lil Marlo said throwing up a gang sign, and he showed Lil Nate how to do the gang handshake. Lil Marlo would try to pick up where his homies left off at. He would try to buy some drugs to sell, but since his older brother was gone, no one wanted to show love. Lil Marlo decided to fall back on the drug selling and go hang with Lil Nate at Fettyboy's studio on Acca. Fettyboy and Lil Nate would teach Lil Marlo how to rap.
Niggas see me, they like Marlo really stepping out. When shut the fuck up, you know I been a stand-up guy. At 15, walking on the chest, the fuck a drive-by.
At the studio, Marlo would click up with other guys like Lil Boss from North Park Village and Ogee off the east side and Lil Banger. Lil Banger was from that east side and Acca area. Lil Marlo, Lil Boss, and the guys would try to drop tracks at Fettyboy's studio, but Lil Marlo couldn't stay off the making, and he ended up doing 90 days for the robbery of Captain D's. Marlo would be released, and only 3 months later, he would catch a purse snatching charge, and his friend snitched on him. At that very moment, Marlo already knew niggas wasn't shit. Lil Marlo would go to court and plead no contest and receive an additional 3 years on top of the 2 years of probation he already had. By age 15, Lil Marlo would basically be a grown man. He had started taking his hustle serious. Lil Marlo would write his number down, get on a bike, and pass out his number throughout the Macon neighborhood. 2 weeks of that had Lil Marlo phone ringing constantly. Lil Marlo would continue to go to Fettyboy's studio with people like Lil Daleboy. Then one day Lil Marlo would get into a street fight that turned into a close range shooting. Someone told the probation officer, and Lil Marlo had a warrant out for his arrest the next day. Lil Marlo would go from selling pressure to selling turkey when Lil Peanut introduced him to Russell Dale. Rest in peace, Lil Peanut, but he would show me how to really get money and how to really treat the fiends. Lil Marlo would finally get caught and would have to go do 6 to 12 months in a group home. While sitting in juvie, other teenagers from Charleston would come tell Lil Marlo that Young Goonz was blowing up, but being so far away from home and not seeing it happen, it was hard to believe. Lil Marlo even joined other guys from other cities in South Carolina who wanted to be down, and Lil Marlo would make the guys fight him. R.I.P. Lil Brandon from Myrtle Beach, he took that Young Goon shit to Myrtle Beach with him. While sitting in the day room, a juvenile snuck on YouTube and showed Lil Marlo the About That So Mix That Young Goonz anthem.
I come on the shit, acting up. PCP my fucking blow. Throwing ones in the air, cause I just really don't give a fuck from full way to Rivers Ave. But I'm really by my cash. Cutting up at every show, at the end of the night, the model's going.
Free that fucking brick boy. Damn it, nigga. Y'all nigga know how to fuck that shit, me nigga. Get well soon.
On March 29th, 2012, Lil Damage would get hit up by the police more than 8 times. Lil Reek and Sav would be some of the first young original goons. They was that connection between About That So Mix That and Young Goon. Lil Boss was one of the original young goons because he been off the porch and had a story like Lil Marlo or Lil G's from West Side, downtown Charleston. So basically, Lil Boss and Lil Marlo would already have history together, so them running together became smooth. Lil Keno and Chris were certified goons because in middle school, Lil Marlo would always say R.I.P. Big P, and being that Lil Keno and Lil Chris was from the East Side Projects, they had respect for Lil Marlo and Lil Marlo had respect for them. So ever since 3 or 4 years before the Young Goons blew up, Keno, Lil Chris, and Lil Marlo would be running together. Lil Spoon would be one of the About That So Mixed That members who would meet Lil Marlo at Fettyboy's studio over the years and drop tracks together. Since Low Damage and Lil Marlo used to run together, Lil G's and Lil Marlo will grow a tight bond. And Lil G's will basically be that cross the track Young Goons connection. But Lil G's will pass away when Lil Marlo was 22 years old.
You wish your life that exceed. You took big piece, so now it's time for your whole family to meet.
Know that. Know that.
He took my nigga Django, where did I had that bounce back? My nigga friend me some weed, but I bought me some crack. I put that shit for half an ounce and then I came back with raw. Y'all nigga playing in the street.
When things got very thick, Lil Pick would be one of the stand-up guys. Actually, Lil Pick grew up with Lil Marlo in the Lethal Squad, but since Lil Marlo is bigger than Lil Pick, people thought Lil Marlo was older, but Lil Pick has Marlo by 3 years. Chapter 3, when the beef is on.
I ain't never been a bitch and a bitch I'll never be. You a war bang nigga, then we can take it to the street. You a war bang nigga, you a war bang nigga, you a war bang nigga, then I'll war bang with you.
Y'all low nigga with war bang and a big chunk with a long clip. This mixed on my beef, fucking nigga with a long dick. 4-5 with a standard clip, catch that, that stop sign. Lit no shot, tryna knock your head off, a bitch is gon' get chunk line. That horse going to the sunny day, scratch out in that front yard. Lil' Moo got that Mac on him.
Now, there are 2 generations of the Young Gunnaz. Now, the first Young Gunnaz would all go to jail for about 6 different homicides. Now, the second Young Gunnaz would all be about 15, 16, 17, 18. Just one generation older than the Young Goons. Young Goons had about 100 teens with no OGs. With discipline, cars, and money Young Goons lacked, they made up for it with their numbers. Young Gunnaz would lack the numbers, but they would make up for it with being savage. One night, the Young Goons would be brave enough to leave off the Macon and walk 40 minutes to the Garrett and North Charleston homecoming game. It was Lil Marlo's homeboys, Lil Boss's football game, and he was determined to make it out there. Long story short, a riot would take place, and Lil Boss would stop in the middle of the football game and come help the gang fight. That same night, leaving the homecoming game, Lil Marlo and the Goonz would be brave enough to take a picture in front of the store in Young Gunnaz territory. What is now known today as Ranger Drive and Dorchester Road, A1 Corner Store, Lil Marlo and the Goonz would post out there not knowing they could lose their lives. That very same night, the Gunnaz would chase Lil Marlo, and that would be the night there would be one of the biggest social media uproars when they were making fun of Lil Marlo because he ran so fast. The rumor was that he ran so fast that his feet was touching his ass. One night at this party right here, the young Gunnaz would approach Lil Marlo, and Lil Marlo would knock one of the guys off their feet. November 30th, 2012, North Charleston would get a call that there was a gun on campus at the North Charleston High School. When the police came on the scene, they found a 40 Glock that was stolen from a police officer in Lil Marlo's locker. They gave Lil Marlo 5 different types of gun charges, 1 attempted murder charges, and 12 shooting into a dwelling charges. The reason for the shooting charges was because they found the same shell casings at 12 different reported shootings in the last 2 weeks. Charges would be dropped when Lil Marlo could prove he found the gun the same morning he got arrested. Lil Marlo would go to the juvenile detention center off of Lees Avenue, and he would have to be placed on protective custody because he was a gang leader and he wasn't allowed around any other juveniles because he might hurt them. Lil Marlo would go to court and be labeled a menace to society and sentenced to 36 months behind the wall, not to exceed his 21st birthday. While sitting in John G., Lil Marlo's homegirl, Lil Bambi, would come to John G. and they would be inside the same class, the same gym class, walk the halls together, and Lil Bambi would be telling Lil Marlo how Daleboy's music is blowing up. While sitting in John G., Lil Marlo would meet a loyal Greenville Savage to the right, and Ken Dick to the left would be telling Lil Marlo how Lil D has taken over the young Goonz. Lil Marlo would meet Lil D in the white through Lil Smash in the black because Smash became a young goon when Lil Marlo did the 6 months for getting into that shootout. Now, Lil Freak in the middle, he would know Lil Freak almost his whole life because Lil Freak moved off the East Side Projects to the Macon when Lil Marlo moved off the Rum to the Macon. Lil D was the youngest goon, but he was very certified. Lil Marlo had meet Smash when he came home from those 6 months and he realized that young Goonz was very popular. Now, Lil Marlo met Freak when they were about 6 years old because Freak just had moved off East Side Project downtown to the Macon, and Lil Marlo just had moved from Romney Street to the Macon. So Freak and Lil Marlo been knew each other. Lil D would come to John G, and just so happened Lil D and Lil Marlo would be in the same room, and Lil D would be telling Marlo about everything he missed out on in the last 15 or 14 months. Lil D would begin to tell Lil Marlo how Lil Marlo's brother, Lil Rum, just had come home and that Lethal Squad and the Young Goons had clicked up, and now it was O-Block. Lil Bambi in the very left would go home 3 months before Lil Marlo from John G. Lil Duke would go home from John G 1 month before Lil Marlo. Smash would go home from a group home 4 months before Lil Marlo. And Fonzo in the middle would go home from John G 3 months before Lil Marlo. Lil Marlo would come home and meet Lil QB in the right corner. Lil Marlo would hurt his knee the night before he came home from John G. And when he came home, he would meet Lil Baba, a.k.a. Lil Stakes. 14-year-old Lil Stakes would be telling 18-year-old Lil Marlo how he heard things about him while he was locked away in John G. But the police would roll up and Lil Stakes would grab a quarter pound of weed off Lil Marlo and get away from the police. The next day, he would see Lil Marlo and hand Lil Marlo the quarter pound and tell Lil Marlo, "That's how we rockin' on O Block."